All right, mate. How you doing? Welcome back to IMO Live. Show number 3. The first 2 have gone very well. I've enjoyed them. Hopefully you guys have too. Today, we're going to continue talking about football in a live situation. Okay, lots to get through today. The FA Cup draw has just been done. That's going to form some of what we're going to talk about. We've got a few topics, including, of course, the mass debate, where you guys have your say. You're going to vote and ultimately decide who wins that debate. And we've got lots to get through, including, of course, we're going to talk about our Super 6 predictions. I'm going to look at my predictions from last week. We're going to make some new ones for the upcoming games, take a look at how things are going in the league table, how you guys are doing, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We've got the hashtag challenge, we've got the IMO 11, we've got all sorts. But before we crack on, let's meet today's guest. Starting off with the one, the only, Mr. Hugh Wizzy, and with him is Mr. James Stevens. Yes, let's clap. Everyone clap, please. Thank you. We got there in the end. Here we go. Hugh Wizzy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Exciting stuff.
Can I say something straight away before we get too long in the show? It's Hugh Wizzy's birthday today, guys. Oh, he's with us on his birthday. Legend. Legend.
I mean, no, happy to be here, mate.
How's the birthday going so far?
Very well. I mean...
He's absolutely smashed.
No, I'm excited to be here. Lots to talk about. And thanks for having me. I just want to say I'm already indebted to you for life because of two extremely exciting days at Wembley, and hopefully it's going to be another good one.
Definitely. I mean, Wembley's been fantastic. You've been a big part in both of those things. You may have heard Seb just go mental in the background there. I'm not sure what that was about. Seb's on a delay. Did you hear Seb just go crazy? I think he was just cheering Wizzy in general. Yes, boy. Oh, dear. Seb is over there. You know what Seb's like. We've got James Stevens with us as well, of course. Hashtag big man. Not your birthday.
It's not my birthday. It's about,
But it's just a normal day for you.
Yeah, every day's a birthday for me.
How are you, mate? You good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to it, actually.
We're going to see you take on the hashtag challenge later. So
not looking forward to that bit. But
we've seen Manji, we've seen Nash. Are you going to beat them?
No.
Well,
Next question.
We'll have to see. We've got loads of questions. Let's jump straight into them. Don't forget, though, you guys can get involved throughout the show. Hashtag IMOLIVE. We've been trending on Twitter the first 2 shows. Can we make it a hat trick? I think we should. So, hashtag IMOLIVE. Anything we talk about, have your say. We're going to get the best tweets on the screen. And also, you're going to get involved in the IMO 11 decision and the mass debate decision. Okay, first thing I want to talk about today. The magic of the FA Cup. Okay, the draw's just been done. Is it still magic? Is it still a thing? When we all grew up, it was the cup of all cups. It was like the only cup in the world where you could literally take part from grassroots level and end up playing Manchester United, theoretically. You know, great stories. Is it still got that magic touch? Because on one hand, I'm thinking, yes, this weekend we saw some amazing upsets, the likes of Lincoln and Sutton winning, fantastic. But we also saw these big teams, yet again, field essentially B teams. And I start to wonder... Are we looking at the FA Cup the way we've been looking at the League Cup for years? Has it lost its magic? Hugh Wizzy, what do you think?
I mean, I think football's changed, right? It's now the business of football. And the reason I reckon that so many big clubs are fielding these second teams is that you look at the prize money, for example, the winners of the actual competition are going to get about £2 million. And that is kind of very measly in comparison with what is much more important in terms of profitability, which is where football's going, in that the team that finishes bottom of the league is going to win this season more than Leicester won for winning it last year.
Crazy.
So you can see why it's happening. However, 2 of the most successful managers in FA Cup history, Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger, prided themselves on blooding youth. And, you know, players like David Beckham, Nicky Butt, the Nevilles, you know, Scholes, all of these guys came through as a result of competitions like the FA Cup and getting their opportunity there. So for me, there is still magic in that.
Paints it as like a youth cup, though, like for the big teams. And I get what you're saying, but did this all start to go wrong when Man United decided not to take part in it? Do you remember when they won the treble and then they were playing in the Club World Championship? And they decided not to take part in the FA Cup. Remember that? And do you think that was the start of the end?
I don't, but...
Don't remember that?
No.
They decided not to do it. Probably about 15 years ago, about 18 years ago now. I think it's 2000.
The other thing is that...
Set a bad precedent.
I mean, we want these, like, you know, magic of the FA Cup type games. And the teams like Sutton, who've just drawn Arsenal, for them it's a massive draw. they get to be either on television or earning a lot more money than they would from normal games, and that is good for grassroots football. So
it is.
It's not dead.
I mean, it's fantastic for that. They've got the FA Trophy. They've got other cups for grassroots football as well. Let's talk about that draw. Sutton versus Arsenal at Sutton. 3G pitch. Are Arsenal going to be able to cope with it? Are they going to get more injuries on that 3G pitch? Never know. We've got Blackburn versus Man United. Fulham Spurs. Burnley Lincoln. Lincoln being the other sort of minnows that got through.
Knocked Ipswich, who are obviously a massive team, out
Yes.
of the...
we should have mentioned that.
They've let you down there.
Ipswich fan, James Stevens, gutted.
But I think, I mean, to be fair, touching up on what you were saying, for the smaller teams, it is now a massive opportunity to get through some of the rounds that they wouldn't have before.
Yeah.
Because the bigger teams, like you said, don't see as much value in it. Maybe it's the timing of it as well. You've got the League Cup that's already going on. You've got the Premiership's well underway. The incentive's not there for the bigger teams to really try, which...
I mean, we should point out, though, that Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, all still in the competition. Yeah. So, whilst they might have played weaker sides, I mean, Arsenal's side against Southampton, massive win for you guys. It wasn't your first team.
10 changes.
But Southampton's team was so much weaker, in my opinion. Like, they've gone so far the other way. They showed zero ambition there. I think Arsenal did what you sort of did. You sort of intimated. They played a weaker team, but not because they didn't care about the cup, because they believed it was good enough to win. Danny Welbeck returning, smashing it, Walcott,
Got
hat-trick.
real squad depth there as well. I mean, the thing about Southampton is they've just reached the final, so they're going to Wembley already. So they've probably got one eye on, securing or trying to chase Europe, I guess, in the Premier League. Or I think it's just not as important, and you've got to remember that financially, that's where everyone's looking right now as far as clubs go. It's all about the money.
I just think it's a shame. I understand the logic, don't get me wrong. I get the business decision, but I think ultimately it's a shame that football seems less about trophies now, because it's a trophy at the end of the day. So many teams, look at Newcastle getting beat by Oxford, right? Newcastle have not had a trophy in so long. I mean, they're one of the best supported clubs in the country. Their fans, more than anything, would love to have a trophy. But they don't care.
Do you not think that it's more important for them to get back in the Premier League, so that's where focus?
I mean, long term, of course, as a business, to get part of that big pie you just talked about, the money that's in the Premier League, of course it makes more sense to do that. But at what point do you say, we want a trophy, if you're a club like Newcastle?
Well, when else are clubs supposed to give these young players opportunities? I feel like it's the best opportunity for players like Jeff Adelaide, who've got a massive future or potentially have. Oxlade-Chamberlain even, they have to prove themselves, and this is cup competitions anyway, a great opportunity to do that.
I guess ultimately where I stand on it is the magic of the FA Cup is well and truly still alive, but only at a certain level and below. I don't think it exists for Premier League and maybe not even the Championship teams as much, but I think when you get into League One and below, that magic, because it does translate to good money for them. If you're a League Two team or a non-league team and you get a few rounds, it changes your club. You can get new stands built, you can get all sorts off the back of one win.
I think it's not dead, but it just needs a bit of resuscitation or something like that.
It does. I think there just needs to be more incentive for the bigger teams to want to participate fully. I think if you're a fan going to watch your team field an under-21 side or whatever, it's not, you've not necessarily turned up to watch 11 youths play for your team.
They've got this new cup now. I forgot the Checker Trade or whatever. What's it? It's under-21s.
Like
people are playing it. I think that that's been tried to be set up as the tournament for teams to play, and there's some sort of rule you've got to play a certain amount of players that have played in the last league game. I don't know what, but people are trying to make that tournament. There was talk about this under-21s league for a while, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. We have got some tweets coming in from the guys at home about the magic of the FA Cup. Is it alive and well? Let's see what you guys are saying. First tweet is from Jordan Griffiths. Wherever the draw has been done, anything can happen within the FA Cup. Okay, wherever the draw has been done. What does he mean by that? I don't understand what he means by that. Jordan, Seb, he says hashtag Seb Takeover, by the way, so he's referencing Seb going crazy behind the scenes, which I'm sure Seb will enjoy. Wherever the draw has been done, anything can happen within the FA Cup. I guess what he means is, the FA Cup is magic because anything can happen.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is more that can anything happen because the big barrier between two teams is being massively reduced because that team isn't playing its first choice players. Let's face it, the chance of Lincoln, for example, beating Burnley is massively exaggerated if Burnley play a B team. If Burnley play their first team, it's going to be very difficult. So, see another tweet from you guys, hopefully one that's easier to interpret. This is from Buck SC. Big teams don't try in the FA Cup anymore. It's just games for fringe players. So has the FA Cup lost its shine? That's what we're sort of saying. Is it because you're arguing that as a good thing, a chance to play youth, of course, but is that disrespectful to one of the world's oldest tournaments?
Well, I mean, that's the debate, I guess. But personally, I don't reckon it's as finished as people are saying. I think, players still dream of like winning that competition. As a trophy, going to Wembley, all of it, it's the whole package, really. And, for these younger players, they have to grasp the opportunity when they're given it. And in the Premier League, it's not going to happen for them as much because there's so much at stake. So I'm still well into the FA Cup.
Just to bring something up, Wizzy mentioned there and earlier Wembley. We've both played at Wembley twice.
Incredible scenes.
Wembley Cup. Obviously, Hashtag United have also played at Wembley. Stephen's missed it though. So I thought I'd bring that up because he's one of the only players that was unavailable on that day. Have you got over that yet?
No.
Let's move on. Okay, have we got one more tweet, I think, maybe for the FA Cup situation? Jack Stancer, the FA Cup is still very much alive. However, the top teams need to have more respect for the lower league teams. Now, that's another thing, because I was talking about them not respecting the trophy, but are they not respecting the opposition?
Well, I guess as far as Liverpool go, you could probably argue that because they've been knocked out. But then it's easy to say that when you look at the results in hindsight.
Yeah,
going into it, they should have had they did have enough players of quality to be able to win a game.
Well, the manager said it, Klopp said it, and Gary Monk at Leeds said it as well. I take responsibility. I picked a team I thought could win that didn't. But this is why you're a pro, Wizzy, because you've just given me the perfect segue onto topic number 2, which is talking about Liverpool. What is going on at Liverpool, okay? 3 losses this week or last week. The worst start to a calendar year for Liverpool since 1993.
Wow.
2 cup defeats. Obviously, a big chance to get a trophy in that cup with Southampton.
Yeah.
That went wrong for them. And then the third home defeat in a week. Just 1 win in 7 games. How important is Mane in this? You like Mane, don't you? Haven't you got him in your fantasy team?
Got him in my fantasy team, FIFA Ultimate Team. Any team, I'll put him in straight away.
Mane.
I love him. He is a massive player for them. I don't think you can put all the blame on that. I think there's a massive lack of having a proper leader in their team. Henderson's not been playing great. Milner, when he is captain, it's very hard to lead a team from left back.
Some people can do it.
Well, why do you know someone?
I mean, they seem to think it's Mane because apparently he's out the African Cup of Nations now. Apparently he's been put on a super fast jet, fastest one they've got available. Get back as quickly as possible. Big game against Chelsea coming up. They want him in it.
I mean, I actually reckon that Klopp has been a little bit exposed in that he's a very personable guy. He's the type of manager that everyone seems to think it'd be great to go for a drink with. However, he seems to be tactically slightly reliant on his assistant, and he hasn't really been reacting very well whenever I see him interviewed as well, because he's done some questionable things.
He does get his backup.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He really does. And, he's made some questionable decisions as far as not bringing in cover for Mane. I know there was some kind of legal questionability as to whether they could play Matip or not, but he's left Sarko in the wilderness for a long time, and the guy's a top-class centre-back, or at least he's kind of viewed by a lot of people as being on Koscielny's level. So I question what he's doing, really. And, he hasn't really dipped into the market properly to do anything.
There's been controversy with Sacco, though, hasn't there?
Yeah, he was misbehaving.
Yeah,
I mean, he was late. He was late once. He's had a little thing, and he's been punished. So.
You're out the team, mate.
Well, he's been harsh on him, I reckon.
I mean, if he did that hashtag, he'd be out the door. This, Stevens, it's hard. If you know more than anyone, if you miss a game, it hurts you. You had some injuries, you missed a game. Sturridge. Let's talk about Daniel Sturridge. What's going on with him? I saw a stat this week showing his average pace or his fastest pace, or one of the two, every season for the last 4 seasons. It's basically going like this. He's getting slower and slower. Pace is a huge part of his game. Is his time at Liverpool done? Is he going to come good again? What do you think?
I think the more Origi gets game time, Sturridge is going to suffer, and when he does get his opportunities like he did last week, he's not putting them away, and that's the problem. If you were reliant on pace, which he's not as much now, you've got to slot your opportunities when you get them, and he's not doing that. So yeah, I'd say he's not got long left.
I feel a bit sorry for him because he's had the injury thing, but I think he might also be being made a bit of a scapegoat right now.
Yeah.
Liverpool, it's not going right for them. However, you're right, he has had chances. He missed one from about 4 yards the other day, doing a little scissor kick and blasted it over. And I don't think he's really helped himself by his attitude. But then, you've got to come good eventually, or it's going to be Origi all the way.
The thing is, though, I think Liverpool at the start of the season was scoring so many goals that people were kind of not fixating too much on how bad their defence has been. And now, because they're not scoring, the fact they can't keep clean sheets is really exposing them. It's a problem. And we've got to ask now, what is success for Liverpool this season? Is the title off? Can they turn it around? Is top 4 good enough? I mean, I think before the season started, most Liverpool fans would love top four. I think the way it went and the attacking prowess they were showing at one point with Coutinho, with Mane, with Ronaldo, with Firmino, with Lallana, who's been fantastic and recently has been voted the best England player of the lot of 2016. He's got that trophy.
They've got some great players. So there's no excuse for them not to be at least top four, right? That's got to be a minimum. However, without Europe, I was expecting a little bit more. And like you said, they made such a good start that maybe people's expectations have just risen a little bit.
Yeah.
You've got to remember as well, Liverpool, they've got such rich history, such a big club. And it's been like 26, 27 years since they've won the league.
Yeah.
So you've got to start asking questions eventually. And, you know, Brendan Rodgers, he suffered as a result of very similar form to what Klopp's going through. And I don't think they should get rid of Klopp, but questions do need to be asked.
I think they had two big chances for silverware. Both gone, okay.
In a week?
In a way, it's terrible. I mean, Arsenal, you know more than ever, this week collapse thing. You've had a number of years.
It's usually about now.
Usually around this time. Champions League comes around, that's usually when it gets you. But they've been struggling, and I think Klopp is a very popular guy. I think one of the managers that most people would say they'd love to have him at their club.
Yeah.
But that affableness, that likability factor only gets you so far. We've seen with any manager is only a couple of losses away from being talked about getting the sack. And it's harsh. It's the world we live in now, though. Klopp has to bounce back. Let us know, #IMOLIVE, whether you think Liverpool finishing top four is enough. Because it's very different to last season. Last season, no one wanted to finish top four, right? This season, everyone's back on it again. All the big boys are firing. And it's going to be harder than ever. So they've still got a lot of work to do to stop the drop. We've got some tweets on the Liverpool topic. Let's see what people have got to say. Cheetah Soccer Player says, why has Klopp not signed anyone when everyone knows Liverpool have defensive issues? I mean, it's true. Defensively, they aren't on point. They're not playing Saka either. Matip, I think this was a very good signing. And now he's back in the team. We'll get going again. But left-back, Milner, is he going to keep Milner as a left-back now? He does very well there. I think on stats I saw that he was one of the second or third best performing left-backs in Europe. But, I mean, I don't know exactly what that's based on. He scored a lot of penalties. Would you not like to see them get a proper left back in? Milner then becomes an option.
They've left like Moreno around, and you know we saw about a year ago that he's just not good enough. So I think he does need to be questioned as to why he hasn't done anything about that. And then Klavan, I don't know whether he's up to the standard that Liverpool need. Karius as well. There's questions over that.
Yep.
Should Mignolet still be there?
Were they not perfect people to go in for Joe Hart? I mean,
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Joe Hart will come back to City at the end of the season, I think.
Do you think Pep? I don't think Pep would swallow his pride and actually accept he got it wrong.
Do.
He should. I think he should. You're right. I mean, Joe Hart, 2 league title winner. A number of times he's had the most clean sheets in the league as well. That doesn't happen by accident.
No,
fantastic
he's a great
goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He wasn't enough of a footballer for Pep, but I think that was a mistake. I think Liverpool could have pounced on that, just like you did with Petr Cech.
Indeed.
We're being linked with him. West Ham have been linked with Joe Hart quite a lot. I'd love to have him.
That'd be a great keeper to have for any team. I think
Yeah.
he's just. Pep's come in and wanted to make a statement, and unfortunately Joe Hart's been the one to suffer, but Bravo's done nothing to back up that. And
he's been absolutely shocking. Shocking.
I don't think anyone anticipated how bad Bravo was going to be.
It's unbelievable. It's almost like he literally doesn't save anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all well and good being able to pass the ball, but I don't understand. I guess the statement that he was trying to make with I've come to the club, I'm in charge now, this is going to do it my way. He's already had to make a difficult decision by not getting his first choice keeper from Barcelona into Stegen, but it's really backfired.
Yeah.
Will he have the gazump to go back on it?
I don't think he's that guy. We've seen him do a lot of stubbornness. We've seen him force out Zlatan from Barcelona. Yeah. I can't see him change his mind. We're going to move on to the mass debate now, though, guys. The big one. Okay, this is where you guys get involved. There's a poll in the top right-hand corner of the screen. You can click the I button. You can vote on it. We're going to be talking about who we think has won the transfer window. Okay, obviously it's not over yet. We've still got tomorrow to go. There's a lot of things that can still change. But as we stand right now, a couple of days before it ends, in England at least, who do we think has had the best window? We're each going to propose a winner. Could be a person, could be a club, could be a country, whatever. And then you guys will decide the winner. So, Wizzy, I'll let you kick off. Who do you think has had the best transfer window?
Lots of good deals to talk about, but I reckon the real winners is the Chinese Super League.
China.
Yeah, China are making massive investment in trying to develop their game out there, bring attraction to the league or attention to it. And Carlos Tevez, Alexander Pato, Axel Witsel, Today, Odion Igalo. These are big signings, and especially for a league which doesn't really have, that much of a rich history. I'd say that they're gaining swiftly on MLS even. And although it's heavy investment, I think there's some players who've really got a lot of talent and still could play at the top level, like Oscar. He may well have been very expensive, but how many Premier League teams would he still get into? I think lots of them.
I think China's going to be a hard one to beat for sure. I mean, compared to the MLS, they're getting players a little bit younger than the MLS are getting them. They're able to spend the money that MLS can't, because they only have their designated players, so many per squad they can spend the money on. China can seemingly for now do what they want. I would, I guess, retaliate to that and say that the amount of money they've paid for people shows a lack of value. I guess I know they have to spend it to get them in the first place, but for example, wages. Maybe they have to pay a lot of wages, but do they have to pay 60 million for Oscar? Do they have to pay that much to get the player? Because I feel like Chelsea would have sold Oscar to Juve for 40 million or for 30 million.
Well, look,
they're having to pay so much.
The rest of Europe, or whoever's cashing in on these deals, is definitely winning as well.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, China do have to spend to get those players over there to make the league something in itself.
Is it sustainable though, that level of spending? I mean, the numbers that...
Listen, mate, China are stacked. They are stacked. Do not underestimate Chinese power. They are seriously smart and adept at thinking even like 100 years ahead. So with the president, Xi Jinping, I think his name is, and his love of football, I really think that, if they can keep it up, that they will make something out of the league, or at least they'll be able to put China slightly more on the map than they are at the moment. And for me, that's winning.
All right, that's a good case you've made there for China. Don't vote yet, though. Hear the rest of us out. Stevens, who are you proposing as the winner of the transfer window? I
mean, it's sort of on similar lines as you, really. The clubs that have benefited from this massive investment from China, and Chelsea being the obvious one, really. The 60 million for Oscar that you picked up on. I think they've had a few other players they've got off the wage bill as well, like
John Obi Mikel,
Bamford out as well.
Yeah.
But the 60 million for Oscar, massive for them. So just based on that, really.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea have got to be, if you were going to do an award for like the last 10 years, maybe you'd have to argue they're very good at the transfer window, I feel, because the way they do their loan systems as well, they've made so much money off repeatedly sending people out on loan and then eventually selling them on. Yeah, they've had a few flip-flops with people like De Bruyne, which is clearly a mistake, and they missed out on an absolute star. Lukaku too. But generally, I'd say financially speaking, you can't think about how much De Bruyne and Lukaku went for after. You think about how much they paid for De Bruyne and Lukaku in the first place and how much they sold them for. They still do good business there, financially speaking. So they're very good, very astute. Yes, they obviously have always spent a lot of money.
And slightly dodgy, if you ask me, because I don't know, David Luiz, Oscar, I don't know how they're doing it. However, Chinese Super League window doesn't shut until February the 28th. There's still lots of time for deals to go through.
You think more people... Well, Wayne Rooney's the big one, isn't it?
Rooney,
he can still go to China.
It would be sensational, and that's the kind of big name that I think they're really looking for, to make a stamp, to make a statement.
Yeah.
He needs the money as well, doesn't he? So
I think
he'd be an idiot to go, if I'm honest.
600 grand a week to $1 million a week, they're talking.
I feel like
phenomenal money.
It does sound
that
like
stage in your career, I think that is when if you do go, that's when you go China. When Diego Costa was getting linked, there was madness as far as I'm concerned. In his prime, top goal scorer in the league. Why would you do that? You obviously don't love football, in my opinion, because you're going to a lower quality of football. With all due respect to the Chinese league, it's not the same level. But if you're falling out of your team, Wayne Rooney's just become top goal scorer of all time at Man United. He's done what he had to do, so to speak. Is it now the time to move?
I think it might be the time to cash in for Rooney or players of that ilk,
yeah.
I think from most of his interviews sound like he's speaking Chinese as well, so seamless transition.
We've had obviously China. We've had Chelsea. I'm going to make a case now for Everton being the winner of the transfer window. Not in a massive, big money expenditure the way we've seen the transfers between those two nominees, but Everton, for me, they brought in Schneiderlin. I thought that was a good buy. I think that he was not utilised properly at Manchester United. Probably wasn't the right move for him in hindsight with the managerial changes that followed him there. But very good player. Let's remember back at Southampton what he was doing for them. He was instrumental in that first season they spent in the Premier League. Can he do that for Everton? I think linking up with Ronald Koeman, could do all sorts in there. I think they've also brought in Lookman. I'm going to say Lookman, not Lookman. Scored, of course, against City, promising youngster. And more importantly, they've offloaded Gibson and it was Oviedo, wasn't it, in the same deal to Sunderland, £15 million I think that's very good business for them. David Moyes loves buying people he's bought before.
He does.
Repeat buys.
Yeah.
Great success rate at doing that.
Very loyal. Very
Questionable
loyal.
how Sunderland are spending their money, to be honest. However, Schneidlin linking up with Idrissa Gueye and Gareth Barry, Barkley. I think they're building this nice little unit there of high energy players. And
then Tom Davies as well, the new boy.
Yeah, and they've managed to get rid of Tom Cleverley as well, so
exactly.
It's a win-win.
You got Cleverley off the wage bill, so to speak. So, Everton, China, Chelsea. You can start voting now. We're going to reveal the winner at the end of the show. Click the I button. Let us know who you think has won the transfer window. Of course, you can comment and you can tweet using hashtag IMOLIVE if you've got another nominee you think should have been considered. We've got some tweets to look at now. Let's take a look at the first one, which is from Vincent MG. He says, Spencer, you're not going to like this, but Marseille has some great signing with Payet and Evra, of course. Payet and Evra. We've got to talk about this. We can't not talk about Dimitri Payet to Marseille. Okay. As a West Ham fan, very, very disappointed the way it's panned out. I think it's a real shame. I think he's getting a lot of stick, and it seems like maybe some of that's a little bit undeserved because his wife's essentially forced to move. She was homesick, but he's definitely handled things badly, refusing to play, saying he's going to fake injury. This sort of thing is not on. And that's why I'm not actually devastated he's left, because he didn't want to be there. I'm devastated we've lost a player of that ability. Of course, I'm sure we're going to get players of that ability again. It was a very good coup. I mean, we've had a chat about it when it first happened last year.
Indeed.
2 years ago now. And we were both gobsmacked that West Ham had been able to land him.
Yeah.
But he did an amazing thing for us last season. Gave us an amazing last year at the Bowling Ground. We've made very good money on him. We paid 10 million. We've sold him back to the same club for 25 million. For that reason, I'd say Marseille's business isn't as good as maybe people are saying. Of course, they've got a top quality player. I wouldn't say Payet has had the move that I could see him leaving West Ham. I didn't think he'd be going to Marseille though. I thought he'd be going top 4, or I thought he'd be going to China.
Yeah, they've still got him cheap for what they would have had to pay for him at the end of last season.
True.
So it's a good deal in that respect for them. Obviously, the fact that they had him before and sold him for 10, 11 million to you.
Yeah, and we've seen Pogba obviously return to the club he came from for a ridiculously larger amount than before. But that's different for Pogba because he's in the prime of his life and he's got 10 years at Man United if it works out for him. Payet hasn't. I know Wizzy's got so much stuff to say on this. I can literally see it.
Ready to go,
out of his
mate.
ears. What do you think about Payet, mate?
We've lost Payet. You know, life comes at you fast, Spence. And I remember our conversations about Ozil versus Payet. And it's interesting to see how many West Ham fans' views have changed on the subject.
Yeah.
There's no denying, in my opinion, that he is a top-class talent that you will struggle to get the quality of.
Definitely.
Again, he's probably the best free kick taker the Premier League's ever seen, barring David Beckham. You could probably put them on a level. Payet's maybe even slightly superior. He's the most creative player in the Premier League up until this very day. And it's a massive loss.
As well, of course.
I mean, we've now got to stop kidding ourselves. To me, it's a big loss for the Premier League, and I'm a football fan. I try to remain as unbiased as possible, and the reality is that we have lost a top-class player.
Yeah, we have.
You know, one of the best wide men in world football. He had an incredible Euros, and although, you know, I understand why West Ham fans have switched on him because I don't think he did handle it very well. I do actually think that West Ham threw him under the bus for their own sake in the press.
Yeah, maybe.
And you've got to remember that he's going to not only a previous club that he's been to where he's going to feel much more at home, his family are going to be much more secure and happy. Marseille have got a bigger stadium. They've got Champions League, you know, winners' medals in their trophy cabinet already. They've got massive plans.
They have Nottingham Forest, mate. You know what I mean?
Much more recent though, and they've got new American ownership with heavy investment that are trying to make the club a massive thing in Europe again. So
no, I get it. It's a different Marseille. It's a different Marseille he's returned to, but he's still at that point in his career. I think he should have looked to go into a better club. But it should be pointed out, Payet was fined £500,000 for his wages for January, essentially, for his refusing to play or to train even. And he's obviously taken a pay cut in going back to Marseille. So he clearly wanted the move, and not necessarily for money-grabbing reasons. So, yes, I think you are right. I think West Ham are at a place right now where we're getting a lot of criticism as a club, as a board, and they felt the need to make an example of him. But it's happened. Well, before we move on, I want to do one more thing I want to raise with you. Arsenal's transfer window.
Yes.
Now, we never expect Wenger to do much business in January. No. However, we were led to believe his big signings of January were going to be re-signing the contract of Ozil and Sanchez. It's nearly the end of the window. Not that matters for new contracts, but we haven't seen them happen. Are we going to see Ozil and Sanchez? Are they going to sign?
Well, I mean, they've both come out and said that they're, happy or comfortable at the club. I think that they're incredibly important to the future of the club being successful and being able to attract players of that ilk again. So it has to be done. I think, Arsenal are very frugal, so it's probably going down to the wire as far
Frugal? Apparently you're going to spend 80 million on Griezmann, I'm hearing. I mean, who wrote that in the press?
I don't
who
know,
thinks that Wenger
probably
spent 80
John
million
Cross or something, but no, realistically, it has to be done, and it will be a real indicator as to the direction that we're going in. There are no excuses anymore. I would say that we have got, I think, Wenger in a time when he's not afraid to spend and is able to spend the money, and he's proven that by going for bigger players or spending more on the likes of Xhaka even. Yeah. So, I mean...
He needs to get him signed up. He needs to put his finger out and get him signed up.
He does indeed.
Or else they're going to lose him. Right, we're going to move on to Super 6 part of the show now. This is your chance. Don't forget, every single week, one of you could win £250,000, okay? That's a lot of moolah. All you've got to do is, I say all you've got to do, you've got to accurately predict the exact scores of 6 games, okay? We're doing it every week. I did it last week with the FA Cup games we just saw. I'll actually tell you how I did it. I've got them here. I actually did all right last week. I'm not going to lie to you. Blackburn, Blackpool, I predicted 1-0. It was 2-0. So I got 2 points for that, because I got the right result, not the right score. Chelsea, Brentford, I predicted 2-0 Chelsea, it was 4-0, so I got 2 points for that. Palace, City, I predicted 1-0 City, it was 3-0, again 2 points for that. Middlesbrough, Accrington, Stanley, I got exactly right. I said it was going to be 1-0, and it was. However, I predicted Brighton to beat Lincoln. They didn't. Obviously, Lincoln upset.
Okay.
The one that really hurt, though, Akinfenwa was on the show last week.
Oh.
I predicted Wickham to beat Tottenham 2-1. And they were 3-2 up with 1 minute left. And then, of course, Tottenham won 4-3. So overall, I got 11 points, which isn't too bad. Some people did very well, though. I think we can actually take a look at the league in a second. Can we? Have we got it on here? I know a few guys got 19 points. Here we go. This is the league. 26 points someone get there.
What?
That's unbelievable.
That's unreal.
That's not. This is the overall league table. Okay, so this is sorted by total time. If we can actually sort it by, I'm not sure if we can look at it right now, but I know some people got 19 points last week, which is really good. I got 11 and I did quite well. Interestingly, whoever finishes top for this week coming, we're about to do the predictions ourselves, could be me. Whoever finishes top in the league is going to win himself a PlayStation 4, courtesy of Super 6, okay? That's not bad, is it?
That is
Let's
tasty.
not forget, that's the
Very
highest
tasty.
scoring player. Going to get a PS4. Let's not forget they could also get £250,000 if they get them all right. And if they don't get them all right, but no one gets them all right, the highest scoring player overall will get £5,000. Okay, that's not bad. It's time for us to do our predictions. Don't forget as well, by the way, you can join my league. The links are all in the description. Download the app, completely free. Get involved, start guessing, and then the pin for my league is 2B0GT8. It's very catchy, but it's also in the description, so you can see the info you need. Okay, should we do our predictions, guys?
Let's do it.
This is this week's fixtures, starting off with Arsenal. You're an Arsenal fan. Arsenal-Watford, are you going to beat them?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, you can see we're in decent form. Watford really quite struggling a little bit to pick up points. And
0% have predicted a Watford win.
Wow.
No one has predicted
99%. We better win now, lads. I mean,
Watford 5-0.
You go Watford 5-0, you say? No, we've got to go with the odds there, haven't we? We've got to go with the stats. It'd be silly not to. I'm going to say Arsenal 2-0. That's what I'm going to go
sounds
for.
about right to me, yeah.
That's what I went for as well, so good decision, mate.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Bournemouth, we're in a league together, aren't we, actually? Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. Stevens, what do you think about this one? A lot of L's on both teams here.
Neither of them are doing well at the moment. I've gone for a draw, I think. Palace, I don't
Hard to predict.
I really like Bournemouth at home. They play a very attacking, pacey football. They don't really know when to stop, but Palace have just been leaking goals right now. Sam Allardyce really hasn't been doing the business yet.
Here's what I'm going to do. Big Sam, we always believe he doesn't take teams down. He needs to turn things around quick if he's not going to. And we've got a little bit of Palace talk coming up later on. I'm going to go for Palace win because Bournemouth have struggled a little bit recently. I think he's going to turn it around. But the reason I'm doing it, the real reason I'm doing it, is because of this. Hardly anyone else has gone for it. Okay, and it means it's got a chance for me to catch some people up. Because if I get this right, these guys won't get the points. 87% of people won't get the points if I get this right. So it's a gamble. It's tactical. Gamble. I'm going 1-0 Palace. Next game is Burnley versus Leicester. You could say, it hurts me to say, but you could say it's a relegation 6-pointer.
It is with Leicester. It's shocking to see them so far down the table. Well, I don't know whether it's actually shocking, because it was more shocking that they were actually
at the top of the table.
Got it quite normal, to be fair.
However, Burnley are very difficult to beat at home.
Yeah.
They don't concede many goals there at all, and I'm not totally convinced that Leicester have got what it takes. So I'm going to go for a draw, I reckon.
You
I
can-
don't
know. I think Leicester's away form's been abysmal.
Yeah,
and Burnley, like you said, have been pretty solid, especially at home. So I'd maybe Burnley nick a 1-0, something like that.
You can see people are agreeing with that. Obviously, the home team's always a favourite to go with, but Burnley, it's shocking to think that the champions aren't believed that they can beat Burnley at home, or away. But I'm going to go Burnley 1-0 for that one. I'm going to say low-scoring game. Middlesbrough, West Brom, another team that have defensively been solid. Middlesbrough do not concede many goals. However, most people, in fact 43% of people, are going for a West Brom away win here. Do you agree with that idea?
I think West Brom have been pretty good, actually. Middlesbrough don't really seem to score a lot. Negredo gets a couple of goals here and there, but it's I think at worst for West Brom it'll be a draw. They probably should be looking to nick the win, the kind of form that they've been in.
They're the overperformers of the league so far. I think West Brom. They're
Two of the most impressive players for me this season, Rondon and Matty Phillips.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, just so good. And I can see them getting the win, because Middlesbrough haven't really been doing that well recently.
I'm going to go with the 37%. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go draw. Sorry, lads. Next.
Do what you want, mate. It's your show.
What's the next two games? We've got Sunderland versus Spurs. Sunderland need the win. David Moyes just shelled out a load of money on Darren Gibson, on players that aren't probably going to change the world for him. Do you think they're enough?
No. I mean, I've really questioned the signings, I've got to be honest. I've questioned the sale of Van Aanholt.
Exactly. Van Aanholt, interestingly, scored more goals than any other defender in the league since the start of last season, 7, I think it is. So they've just lost someone that gets them a lot of goals. And Sunderland, it's basically been Van Aanholt and Defoe scoring the goals. Yeah. They just got rid of one of them.
I mean, Wickham, though, I know it's Tottenham's second team, basically, and they've got away with it, but maybe Sunderland will feel that they can push, Tottenham all the way. Defoe against his old side as well. I know, but there's
no Reds on Spurs, and
those
no
form things. They only can be be beaten. They can only be changed around. So,
well, I've got Adam in my ear, who's a Spurs fan. He's just said to predict 6-0 to Spurs.
I was going to say Ali hat-trick.
I'm going to go 3-1 to Spurs.
Oh dear, Sunderland.
Okay, sorry.
Sunderland have finished them.
They are. I agree. You're telling some of your best players. Hull are doing the same thing. You're waving the white flag. Really,
yeah, I mean, Hull, for me, if we were talking about people that have lost the transfer window, I'd say they're up there as well. Hull sold Snodgrass, sold Livermore. Got good money for them, sure, but do they want to stay in the league? I don't know. They have made some good signings, but they're not proven. Finally, Swansea versus Southampton. Swansea have been turning things around a little bit. Obviously, new manager. Southampton, we don't know what to think with Southampton. They're going through in the League Cup. They're getting smashed in the FA Cup, albeit of a weaker side. 42% think Southampton can get the win. The form's pretty similar. I don't know, actually. This is genuinely need some advice on this one.
Swansea looked like a really good unit against Liverpool last time I saw them play, and I was really impressed. So I'm thinking that with Makelele on board now, that they're going to be improving defensively. Southampton, like you said, they've been a little bit touch and go. I reckon Swansea would be happy with picking up a point, so I'll go for a draw.
David, you got it?
Yeah, I agree with the draw. Southampton's last game was Leicester, wasn't it? I think, who they beat, sort of sounding looked very good. It's
just the FA Cup one that threw it out.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll pick up their form and then put the first teamers back in. I'm going to throw a cheeky 2-2 in there. We're going to go with. So that is my predictions for Super 6. Don't forget to make yours. Get involved. Download the app. Absolutely free. Join my league. If you finish top of it for the next week, if you're the highest scoring person in that league, you're getting yourself a PlayStation 4, guys. All right. If that's not good enough reason to get involved, the chance to win 250 grand could be. So I look forward to seeing some of you on the Super 6 League next week. Now, one of my favourite segments of the show. It's been doing the comments love it. People are getting really involved in it. It's an interesting one this week because I'm talking about stand up for your club. I'm talking about where two stand-up comedians take each other on, battling for their team, trying to mug each other off and mug each other's teams off, and ultimately be chosen as the winner by our guests here, Hugh Wizzy and James Stevens. So today, for the first time, we've got two opponents from the same league because it's been a bit of a mismatch in terms of teams so far. We've had Championship versus Prem. We've got Jack Barry representing West Ham, so we've got a West Ham person, a lot of West Ham talk at the moment, taking on James Gill of Crystal Palace, also a team that's been talked about a lot of transfer activity. Are you expecting to see a bit of transfer banter?
I mean, I'm hoping so. It's going to be a tight one, and you've got to do your best, lads. You've got to do your best. A lot of impressing to do here.
They've both got a lot of material to work from, so I'm expecting big things.
Okay,
Indeed.
no pressure. We're adding a timer for the first time this week, so they've got 3 minutes to basically mug each other off, and we'll decide who wins. But let's go and join Jack Barry for West Ham, James Gill for Crystal Palace. Let battle commence.
Jack, your fans always bang on about what colours you're playing. Claret and blue, claret and blue. Firstly, no one cares. Secondly, how camp and precise do you want to be? No other club is reaching for the Dulux colour chart. Arsenal fans don't play, we playing crimson and snowdrop.
Don't you guys sing a song saying we're the players in red and blue?
Yeah, but we don't use poxy colours like you guys.
I see. Yeah. Oh, we've got more range.
Exactly.
We're classy. Okay, fine. Well, there's been a lot of chat about the FA Cup today. And interesting, your clubs won the FA Cup the same number of times as me.
It's a round number.
Yeah, it's good. I was doing a lot of research today. It's a club with a lot of history, yours, but the honours section is very small.
Just waiting to fill it in.
Fine, yeah.
The Queen is reportedly a West Ham fan.
Yeah, of course she is.
What is it about your club where everyone expects the taxpayer to pay for their ground?
That's pretty good, actually.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah. Well, you're having a tough season this season, aren't you, though?
Every season's a tough season.
Every season's a tough season this season. I mean, you've got Sam Allardyce. You're literally us like 2 years ago, basically, aren't you? You've got Tompkins at the back, a bunch of misfiring strikers up front. You're us 2 years ago. I think you should have a new nickname, the Drones, because your strikes always miss their intended targets.
I'll take that.
Yeah?
Keira Knightley is a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
So Slaven Bilic went to go see her latest film the other day. He said that she was stiff, she was wooden, and she looked like she didn't want to be there. So he signed her to replace Dimitri Payet.
The snake.
Well, speaking of snakes, Dimitri Payet, Jermaine Defoe, Paul Ince. Your club has handled more snakes and rats than Terry Nutkins. Thank you.
I'm liking these.
Hey,
I like the little go-tos. Well, you guys are record holders, though, aren't you? I was looking at it today. You've actually been relegated from the Premier League more than any other club. In fact, you guys went down so much in the 90s that you should be called Monica Lewinsky.
People say West Ham is a special club, and I agree. You know, players like Bobby Moore, Trevor Brooking, Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard. To produce players like that, I mean, you are a special club. The fact that you're still atrocious every single season.
Right, that's tough. I mean, you guys are pretty atrocious this season. I mean, it's lucky you guys got a Welsh goalkeeper because he's surrounded by leaks. Must be at home.
Very emotional club, you. Derby County left the baseball ground, never said a word. Sunderland left Roker Park, barely mentioned it. You lot left Upton Park, you all burst into tears. I've not seen so many EastEnders get so upset about an exit since Peggy Mitchell committed suicide.
That's good passion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, do you like The Simpsons?
Yes.
Just wondering if you support Crystal Palace because Steve Parish looks like Troy McClure. He looks like, you know, in Family Guy, whenever they draw an English person, that's Steve Parish. Yeah.
I've got one more.
Oh, I've got one more too.
I'm forever blowing bubbles. What sort of chant is that? What do you do for encore? Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Oh, nice. I was just wondering what your favourite goal of the season will be. Giroux's scorpion kick against Palace or Andy Carroll's bicycle kick against Palace.
Andy Carroll's bicycle kick.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm just remembering last season's Dele Alli goal, which was
also
Palace.
brilliant.
Yeah, very good.
West Ham.
Come and join us on the sofa. Come and join us on the sofa. We'll have a debrief. But very good work. West Ham versus Palace. It was a 6-pointer. How did you find that?
Oh, I had some of my strongest players still to get on the pitch.
You didn't get them out?
Didn't even get them out.
Well, we introduced a timer this week. It made it harder, I think.
No, it was. I felt the pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. I've definitely have never performed to this many people before.
I loved his Lewinsky.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the people at home at all.
I loved his Lewinsky gag.
Lewinsky was strong.
It's a beauty.
Strong gag. Well, we need to have a winner. We need to decide who has won. West Ham versus Palace. Was there any notes from you?
Two very impressive performances, much more impressive than your Premier League form, both of you, I have to say. But I'm leaning towards one side already. Do you want me to reveal where we're going?
Stevens, have you any thoughts as well?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a Palace battering ram, if I'm honest. Not to say that what you had to say wasn't good, but I thought there was a couple of combos thrown from your side that probably nicked it for me.
Do you agree with that or not?
I totally disagree.
Yeah, so do
In
I.
fact, I'm fully on the West Ham side right now. I've got to say, yeah. I mean,
Okay, well, I don't get a vote for a good reason this week, especially because it's West Ham. Yeah. But we usually let the guest decide, not the hashtag player. So we're going to go with Hugh Wizzy. Sorry, mate. West Ham win, yeah?
That's the story of our season right there.
I know, Palace needed that win.
We did. Sorry, lads, I let you down there.
Let's have a rematch one day. It's a well-fought battle, but very good work, guys. I enjoyed that. Stay with us. We're going to talk some football, if you don't mind. Next up, we're going to do IMO 11, OK? This is my team that I started with at the start of this live series. 11 players that mean something to me. Every week, our guest comes on and tries to replace a player on that team with someone that means something to them. So far, it's been 100% successful. First week, True Geordie replaced Michael Owen with Alan Shearer. And then last week, we had Akinfenwa, who brought in John Barnes, and he replaced Paolo Di Canio. So he changed the formation up, OK? Real shame. This is the current team, still very, very strong. In fact, it's harder now to take someone's place. Your job, Hugh, is to suggest someone to come into this team. Let us know who you think's place they should take, and then the guys at home, this is your second chance to vote using the I button in the top right hand corner. Tell us if you think Hugh's player should make it in, and in a few minutes we'll find out if they have. So Hugh, first and foremost, who would you like to induct into the IMO 11?
Okay, right. I would like to induct the one and the only king, Thierry Henry. And, you know, I had to make this decision very carefully because I do think the side is absolutely top quality. For me, that back five is almost irreplaceable. Yeah. Every single one of those players is top class. However, going forward, there are a couple of names that I think we could take out. And I'm sorry, Akinfenwa, but I'm going straight for your man, John Barnes.
Straight in, straight out. That's what
it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Wow.
You wouldn't say that if he was here, would you?
You know what? I probably would. I would.
I can't believe what I'm hearing here. I'm showing my age, but Barnes, when I was a kid, was...
A sensational player, incredible history. Unfortunately, I'm not that old. However, I am. However, I would say that not many players have made such an incredible impact in England as Thierry Henry. He's Arsenal's top goal scorer ever. He is France's top goal scorer ever. He's won it all, from European Cups to World Cup to Premier League, FA Cups, all of it.
He's a big dog, for sure.
And I think was actually once unfairly outvoted to second in the Ballon d'Or to Pavel Nedved. I think he was robbed there.
This is his chance to win a vote.
This is your chance, Thierry.
Okay, so you're proposing Henry in for Barnes. Are you going to switch the formation up perhaps, go two up front?
Yeah, we're going to have to, I think. A lethal partnership, Alan Shearer and Henry. In fact,
maybe the two best strikers the Premier League's ever seen, maybe.
I would say almost certainly. There's not many that could touch either of them. Shearer, best English striker of all time for me.
Dougie Friedman?
He's up there.
Yeah.
Again, no.
Francis Jeff was also great. I mean, I really like this idea from you. First of all, because you're not replacing someone I put in the team.
Yes, there's that.
But again, I'm more of the generation of Henry than John Barnes, and I don't think you can dispute what he's done. But it's your chance to decide, guys. Click the I button, vote. We're going to open some stickers, add some people to the wall, and then at the end of that, we'll reveal whether Henry has made the 11. Okay.
You better make this 11 as well, lads. Don't let me down.
On this sticker thing, right, something amazing happened last week. So we haven't got enough stickers to go with everyone, but we're going to let Stevens and Hugh open some stickers you guys can watch, right? But it was completely random. It's honestly completely random, okay? I asked Akinfenwa to pick one pack. There was loads of different years worth of packs in there. I think he picked 1995 or whatever.
And he won the lottery.
He just proposed to put John Barnes in the 11, and he packed John Barnes.
Oh, mate, there you go.
So John Barnes, even if he doesn't make it in this 11, he'll still be on the wall.
There we go.
He'll still be on the wall. So, Wizzy, you've got some options here, mate. You've got 1999.
Right.
You've got 2007, 2008. You've got Euros this summer. You've got 1995. Can you pick someone for me, please? Which pack would you like? You too, Stevens. You've got to pick a pack as well, mate.
I'll go 99. Let's go
99?
Yeah, lucky dip.
Okay, 99 for Wizzy. What about you, Stevens? You start opening that, please.
Just do me a
randomer.
One of them.
All right. You got the Euros. Mate. So you open the stickers and then choose one player you want to stick on the wall for eternity. Okay.
Oh, this brings back memories.
Let us know who you've got.
Brings back memories.
Expecting. Well, what year is this? 99. Who's in the Arsenal team in 99? You've just won the double in 98. You're going to have Ray Parler. You're going to have Mark Overmars. You're going to have Dennis Bergkamp. You got any Arsenal players?
Not a single one.
Shame.
However, I mean, not the greatest pack, I'm not going to lie. However, we've got John Hartson from his Wimbledon days. That's quite a big one.
John Hartson.
We've got Dion Dublin from Aston Villa.
Dublin, big fan.
Wes Brown, Manchester United, when he was
That's early.
Yeah.
That's early, Wes Brown.
And who we got here? I don't even recognise this guy. Who's that? Oh, Mikel Forsell. This is so old school.
Shiny.
It's a shiny.
Oh, he's got a shiny.
It's a shiny.
Mikel Forsell. Surely we're not going to put our first shiny on the wall, guys. What are you saying, Hugh?
I think he's the best of the bunch, probably. Yeah.
You're going shiny.
You can't turn down a shiny.
Right,
although I do feel bad because I am actually a John Hartson fan.
Do you want to stick Hartson? It's up to you.
He's not only like ex-West Ham, but he's
survivor.
Yeah, he's a survivor. He is a survivor. So we'll go with that.
Forsell, you're out, mate. John Hartson. What about you, Stephen? So I'll need the stickiness from that sticker to secure this one.
I'm going to be honest.
They're old, mate.
I've had better packs.
Oh, okay.
He's actually ex-Arsenal as well, so...
He's ex-Arsenal, you're right, yeah.
The player I want...
Closest we'll get.
The player I want to pick is half size.
Oh, it's a half C.
I don't know, can we get a ruling
We can never half C. What have you got there?
Or can we do both of them? We've got Fabregas and Santi Cazorla.
I'll allow it. We'll allow it.
Fantastic.
On the basis my other options...
Quite poor.
Non-viable.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick them.
By all means.
Two modern players,
pass them over.
Technicians.
We've got Fabregas and Cazorla, if you can see them here. They are little. They're smaller stickers, but they still count. So we're going to use Fabregas. This is the technical bit here.
Are you leaving Santi behind, are you?
No, I'm going to use the other one as well.
Oh,
so
right.
I'll take
going to secure him like this, you see.
Oh, tactical.
Wow.
And that's going to secure Hartson there. And then we're going to use Fabregas on the other side just to finish it off. So that's how the wall's looking now. We've got John Hartson, we've got Fabregas, Cazorla, John Barnes and No Pamero from Portsmouth. Thank you very much for opening those packs. Now it's time to find out whether Hugh Wizzy's player, Thierry Henry, has made it into the IMO 11. Would you have voted him in?
No.
No. Would you have voted him in?
I think I would have done, to be honest.
And Stevens?
Yeah, I think I would have.
Don't let me down, lads.
But have you guys? Let's find out. Is Thierry Henry in the IMO 11? 80% of you have said yes.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you.
John Barnes, it was 1 week, but what a week it was. Thank you for joining us. You're out though, John.
He's on the reserve wall.
He's on the wall. You stay on the wall now. So we have a look at the new look team with Thierry Henry in there. Wait for it. Drum roll. Bang! Oh, that's decent. He's gone back to the diamond. We've gone back to the diamond formation. Thierry Henry, I mean, this team now, genuinely, is going to be hard to displace some players.
Yeah.
Whoever comes in next week is going to have to make a very good case. And we might see the first failed induction. Might see someone not get a player in.
No one's lost yet.
They've got rid of my weak points. Yeah, I had a few weak points in there sort of deliberately just to give you guys a chance. But now the defence is tight. We're going to move on to the hashtag challenge now. Okay, so James Stevens, this is your time to shine. All right, every week a hashtag United player takes on the hashtag challenge. It involves running around a pitch. It involves jumping over some hurdles. It involves dribbling a ball around some cones. And it involves trying to score past the scariest man in football. Hashtag Jamie Jackson.
So
right?
About 15 minutes left, isn't there? So...
should have enough time just about to fit it in. Should we have a look at how you got on?
Oh, if we have to, yeah.
Any thoughts before you did it? What were you thinking?
Why do I sweat so much?
He loves a sweat. This is James Stevens, hashtag challenge. Here we go.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my favourite activities, area of expertise. Probably lasted this in about year 2, so it's be good.
Get set. Wait, did you actually do this in year 2?
Made that up.
Go on, my son.
Right, so
pace.
Round the pitch, essentially just under 400 metre sprint to start things off. You can see the sweat is already there. So that's a good sign. You've obviously warmed up.
Always warm, mate. Always ready.
What were you thinking at this point?
How far have I got to go?
You're about halfway now.
What a stupid challenge.
No,
I think.
actually, you're not halfway yet. You're halfway, when you hit the halfway line, you're going to go past Jacko.
Michael Johnson-esque technique, though.
Loving that technique.
You can't fault the technique. Faisal Manji's technique got brought up a little bit. Your technique is faultless, mate.
Backlift, incredibly strong.
So you're about to go past the goal here with Jacko in there. Is he going to do anything for us? He usually puts on a little bit of a show for us. What are we going to see? Oh, he's doing a little pose. And it's a dab from Stevens, the dabbing station.
I should get time off for that, I think.
No time off for the dab, unfortunately. There is time put on for every hurdle you miss or fail, every cone you hit, and you get that's 5 seconds. You get 15 seconds added on if you miss your shot. Okay, so we're going to see what you do here. What do you think about the hurdles? How are your legs feeling?
I just wanted to get over them and not fall over.
That technique.
I think at this point I was so exhausted.
Lucky you're a big lad. You didn't have to jump.
You're like a young Chris Akabusi over those hurdles.
Okay, so you haven't hit a hurdle, you haven't hit a cone yet, so no time off right now, which is good.
No, I'd actually gone blind from exhaustion at this point as well.
Oh, look at the technique.
Beautiful.
Go on.
He's going to hit it. No! He's gone for a chip.
Lazy. That's the laziest shot available.
Jacko's winding you up there, pretending to spill it afterwards as well. So you went for the chip, you did, and that is going to add 15 seconds onto your time. But well done, James Stevens. Decent effort. Decent effort. I mean, how did you feel after that?
Knackered.
Yeah.
Embarrassed. Sweaty, as we've already touched on. Yeah, it's not my sort of challenge, that one.
You love a shot though. Usually you love a shot.
Not after sprinting around places.
Yeah,
don't be embarrassed. You're a hero.
You are a modern day hero. 15 seconds though, that's going to cost you that shot.
Yeah.
Before we see your time, should we take a look at the leaderboard as it stands?
I think we should.
This is Nash and Manji. Nash currently top with a score of 1 minute 28. No one yet has completed the challenge without some sort of penalty.
Wow.
Everyone's either missed a shot, and Nash scored his shot, but he missed a hurdle. So he got 128. So 128 to beat, or 137 to beat if you don't want to be bottom. What are you thinking?
I'm going to be bottom.
You think you're going to be bottom?
Where's the faith?
No faith in
Where's the
yourself.
confidence, lad? Let's go.
I've had 28 years experience of not faring well in cardiovascular-based challenges. So,
Right, well, you're not hopeful. Let's find out if James Stevens is bottom of the hashtag leaderboard, in the middle or at the top. He is at the bottom.
shock.
He is at the bottom, but let me
Still on
tell
the
you-
podium.
You're still on the podium.
Positive. Bronze medal.
Let me add as well, not a bad time, to be honest. Right, 1:30 without the 15-second penalty. You weren't that far off. A lot of the other guys we'll see in later episodes. So the time was decent. The shot really cost you. I mean, are you happy? I would say you're happy with. Obviously, you're bottom, but are you happy with how you did?
I think I would have probably liked to have been a bit more considered about the shot at the end.
Yeah.
See, I was knackered by the time I got to the hurdles, and my goal was just to not fall over and embarrass myself, which I probably didn't even achieve anyway. But yeah, the shot obviously undid me. And if I could have my chance again, I'd have slotted it.
Yeah, because the score of 1:30, if you had scored that shot, would have put you in second place.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bottom. But better luck next time. We've got more people to take on the hashtag challenge soon. But well done to you, James Stevens. Next is the Q&A. These are answering the questions that you guys have been tweeting at us and sharing with us throughout the show that perhaps we haven't addressed so far. So should we take a look at what the guys want us to talk about? They're going to get the questions loaded up in a second. But there is a lot to talk about at the moment. Obviously, transfer window still not finished. I think the fact that the Chinese window closes later is a really interesting one because it means they can get their business wrapped up in the Premier League. And then if someone you still want to offload, there's still that option. So lots of things to talk about. We've got, I think, 3 questions we're going to bring up. First one is interesting. Why has La Liga not taken goal line technology? So Barcelona dropped points this weekend, and they did so due to a goal which clearly went over the line, not being given to them. They don't spend the money on goal line technology. Now, I heard a stat the other day which I thought was crazy. Apparently, every Premier League club has to pay £250,000 a year to have goal line technology, and that doesn't even include these operating costs or one-off fees or whatever, just to have them. So goal line technology isn't cheap. The Spanish league has an interesting situation, which is that Real Madrid and Barcelona take a lot of the TV money because they get a lot of the TV audience. It's some people are saying that they should be paying for it because they could easily afford to pay for everyone. They've got plenty of money. The league is saying they can't afford it, La Liga, which I think seems crazy, so they can't afford it in a modern day football world.
That's an embarrassing excuse.
I mean, we all assume because we've had goal line technology now, it's in football, but it isn't. It's not in Spain. And how backwards does that make them? Like, is that quite a bad move, right?
Yeah, if the technology's there, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, Barca have got a good incentive to want to pay for it now after
huge
Betis.
Drop.
But yeah, there's that disparity with how the money's distributed. I can understand that the teams aren't getting any, not want to fork out that much money, but it's not 250 grand for a top
Peanuts.
league team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Nothing.
for like Las Palmas or someone, it might be a little bit more of a bigger deal because their lower teams don't have anywhere near the amount of money our lower teams do. But Spain are the only top flight or top league in Europe that don't have goal line technology. So it is a bit embarrassing, really. But then to your point, the technology's there. The technology's there really to have assistance for referees. We choose not to have it in there. It's not really been piloted, you could say, is the reason. But yeah, there's a lot of technology needs to come into football. So in answer to your question, Devansh, I don't know. They're being tight, basically.
Another excuse that they give is that it kind of adds to the controversy and the talking points. But it's just like, come on now, lads.
Sepp Blatter was saying that for years. It's just when they don't. It's not in their interest to change it. That's all it is. As soon as it's in their interest, they'll do it. Let's have a look at the next Q&A topic. It's going to be from Darren. He says, do you think Rooney should stay at United or leave for China? We touched on this earlier. For me, if I'm Rooney, okay, it's hard for me to think I'm Rooney because I'm never going to be in that situation, but he's earned a ridiculous amount of money already. So the football purist in me says stay in the Premier League. I think I'd consider a move. I think maybe going back to Everton or wherever was on the cards for him could be a good, prolong his career by 4 or 5 years at the top flight. But if I was ever going to go to China, someone in Wayne Rooney's situation would probably be when I'd consider it. I've hit all the records. I've got the most goals ever scored for England and Man United. I'm probably never going to get beaten now, those records. Staying around, he might add to those goals a little bit. Going to another club.
Would you get in the Everton side right now?
That's the question, is how low would he have to sink to get a game?
I think, we'd take him at Palace, but I think he should go to China, to be honest. I think he's a busted flush.
You go China?
Yeah.
And Colleen has given him the green light. Colleen apparently has said...
If she's given him the green light, what the lady says goes, you know.
Yeah.
And
we saw that with Dimitri Payet, didn't we?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, so does anyone think Wayne Rooney shouldn't go to China?
I don't think he should, but financially, obviously, the opportunity's there for him if he just wants to make a nice nest egg for himself when he retires. Then might as well.
$300,000 a week, isn't it?
It's not enough, mate. It's not enough.
Yeah, he's got a nest. He's got plenty of eggs.
Yeah.
It's whether he wants more eggs.
Well,
why not?
Who you can have too many eggs?
There, then take it.
Can't have too many eggs, can you? Lots of cholesterol there. Let's have one more Q&A question. It's going to be from Abdul Jah, and he says, Alexis Sanchez and his contract, what does Wizzy think? Again, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but it is a really big issue. And not just Sanchez, but also Ozil. If take the Arsenal love out of your head right now, will they both be at your club a year from now?
I'm going to say yes, because Arsenal are a team going in the right direction. They've got not only the home is in the centre of London. It's a great place for people to live. Very attractive proposition. I think that a lot of it depends on Arsene Wenger, and they're obviously worried about whether he's going to be there next season or not, and that in itself depends on where Arsenal finish this year. But Alexis is, for me, one of the debatably, the best player in the Premier League right now. Probably put him with Hazard up there as far as importance for their clubs go. So absolutely essential that they get him done, and also, like you said, Ozil, because the guy's a creative genius, and when he's on form, very, very low. Another one is just irreplaceable, really. So.
I mean, of course, Wenger, we all know, has been building the team for about 10 years now. And if you lose one of those players, you're going to have to replace it. Whereas if you add another one to that quality, because they are quality players, you've then got Ozil, you've got Sanchez, and you've got whoever the next big name you could bring, maybe Griezmann, as we're led to believe. I feel like if you're an Arsenal fan and you lose one and then you get a big name, you're just treading water.
I think Wenger's played it very smart in that if, say, Ozil does go, we've got David Ospina, who's married to James Rodriguez's sister. So there's a possibility of a little link there. However, he's waited long enough to actually invest in top-class players like Ozil and Sanchez. So to let them go now, it would just be an absolute mad move.
I've got one little idea before we move on to the social challenge. We should... So you know how we talked about a lot of these bogus transfer rumours that get leaked this time of year? Oh, we've seen Giroud in Waitrose near Man City. That means he's going to Manchester, whatever. Let's make one up. Let's all just pick some random players. So, Stevens, you pick a player. And by the way, you guys, whatever we come up with, we want you to go on Twitter and just tweet a rumour about this player and this team. We'll see if some bogus newspaper prints a story about it tomorrow. Stevens, give us a player.
Rashford.
Give us a club.
Everton.
At Rashford to Everton. Are we happy with that? We'll have one more player from you. Zaha to... Fiorentina, right.
Yes.
The mission has been set. Get on Twitter, start tweeting that you've seen Rashford in a shop near Everton, and we've seen Zaha taking a trip to Fiorentina or to Florence, and we'll see if anyone actually believes any of that nonsense. Oh, Zaha could be moving. I'm hearing...
You told me that earlier, I nearly burst into tears.
There's a chance he could be going to Spurs last minute. I don't know what everyone thinks about that, but it could happen. The social challenge we set last week, I asked you guys to send us your pictures, hashtagging it all over the world, wherever you've been tuning in, and we'd pick one of our favourites to go on the show, perhaps someone that's been doing it from a long way away or in a special location. We had lots come in. Thank you to everyone that sent us a picture and hashtagging it. I'm glad you didn't forget to hashtag it, but which picture are we going with? Who is our social challenge winner of the week? Let's find out now. Chelsea Holic Shahan, me and my friend did not forget to hashtag it next to the tallest building in the world.
Wow.
That is in Dubai, isn't it? That's in Dubai. The Wiz Khalifa? No, Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa.
It should be called the Wiz Khalifa.
They should rename it.
Yeah.
They should rename it. It's as tall as he's good at rapping. That's why they called it that. No, it's a massive building in Dubai, and we've got a couple of guys hashtagging it, and their technique is faultless. Stevens, happy with the technique?
Absolutely textbook, mate.
On point.
Absolutely
On point. Burj Khalifa is actually what it's called, by the way. No, thank God for Adam.
I just told you that about 3
Did you?
ago. Yeah.
Sometimes Adam says rubbish stuff like Spurs are going to win 6-0, but sometimes it makes sense. And Burj Khalifa, apologies to Wiz Khalifa if you've been offended by that comparison. Burj Khalifa, hashtagging I loved it. Well done to Chelsea Holic Shahan for doing that one. Good work from you. Challenge for this week is going to be, I want you guys to make a drawing. I want someone to do a nice drawing. Could be of a footballer, could be of yourself, could be of the show, could be of anything. Our favourite, we're going to print it off, we're going to stick it on the wall. Okay, we're going to start building this wall out with something one of you guys has made. So get using hashtag IMOLIVE with your picture. Has to be handmade. I want it handmade. I want a genuine first edition piece of art, and it's going to go on the wall. And that's pretty much it for today's show. We've just got to reveal the winner of the masturbate, haven't we? Who did people think won the transfer window? Out of the 3 options, who would you have gone with? You had China, you had Chelsea, and you had Everton.
I think I'd probably have to agree with Chelsea, to be honest. Yeah. I think the money they got for Oscar and... I think China, they've done well, but they're just throwing ridiculous amounts of money.
Look, mate, I
if you're going to do that, I'm sorry, Everton too, but I think the China thing's been interesting, but that amount of money.
That's not going to cut it.
It
We're going to have words after this.
Selling Oscar for 60 basically means that Chelsea can go and buy someone for 60 and break even. Like what they can get for 60 from a European club is outrageous.
Yeah, exactly.
What had you gone with out of interest?
Heartbreakingly Chelsea.
You gone Chelsea as
I
well?
would, absolutely.
Interesting.
Chelsea, the big winners this season.
Stephen thought Chelsea had the transfer window, as many of us do, but did you guys at home think Chelsea, China or Everton won the transfer window? So far, let's find out who they've gone with. China!
Oh, my guys!
73%!
My guys.
And Everton Chelsea is actually very close. 1% in between me and you, Stevens.
I reckon there's been some autocorrect there.
Wizzy smashed us. I can only imagine that's because, forgetting the money, they have massively improved the quality of the football in that league.
Yeah.
It's new and exciting. I'll give it that. But I'd like to see how long.
There's a lot of people playing out there now who, they could play in any league. They're doing big things. They're paying a lot of money for it, but they're making.
But we wouldn't watch that, would we? We won't watch it on TV.
I'm looking forward to it being on FIFA.
Give it a couple of years.
That's a very good point. Chelsea may well be in FIFA in the future, and that will be something that will add Chelsea. Chelsea.
China, I feel like
they're already in it.
You've got to get it on FIFA. Get rid of the Polish league. I'm fed up of playing with Polish teams on FIFA.
Well, you don't have to play with them.
I do randomise, and it comes up all the time.
Well, China...
If you had Carlos Tevez popping up every now and then.
Yes.
That's the thing, because if they don't put China in FIFA now, they're going to be missing out on some big players. But that's something to look forward to. That will enhance the popularity of the league further. I would watch it, maybe not every week, but I'd watch it out of interest. But let's not forget, we should learn from history. Anelka went to China a few years ago, ahead of the curve, as in a few lads. I think we saw a few boys go over there, Demba Ba as well. Didn't work out for Anelka. I think he went to a club, and then he ended up managing the club, and then ended up not getting paid by the club, I think, so he came home. Let's hope that doesn't happen again, because there's going to be a lot of people missing a lot of money. But on paper, China looks like a very exciting property, and you guys have gone with them as the winners of the transfer window. So fair play to you. Thank you to everyone for watching the 3rd ever episode of IMO Live. Thank you to our guests. All done fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. All their links are in the description, guys, if you want to find out more. And there's one more thing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Wizzy. Happy birthday to you. Thanks. Everyone, if you don't already, make sure you follow Hugh Wizzy. Make sure you follow all these guys. The links in the description. Wish him a happy birthday on Twitter. Seb's involved. Did you enjoy shouting out off air?
I'm sorry about that. I was on a little bit of a delay and I got overexcited.
Well done. There's lots of people behind the scenes that make this show work. Thank you very much to all of them. And thank you to you. We'll see you on the next one. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. And of course, Don't go changing. See you later. Bye.